Hello everyone, welcome to Toosdei Hangout. So I've been asked to speak on mind your business and mind the law. So my brief is to talk about pockets of to use the language of the instructor, pockets of experiences and instances that affect young people as far as the law is concerned. So that's what I'm going to try and do shortly in this session. I've decided to speak with respect to the things that are most common to Toosderians, that is the things that we rant and complain the most about every Tuesday. So I'll talk about that briefly and how the law comes into play in each situation. I'd start with starting a business as a young person. So starting a business, there are lawful considerations that you should give thought to. For instance, you should think about registering your business. In Nigeria, you register with the Corporate Affairs Commission. It's important for you to register your business. Now, registration does not totally protect you from competition. What it just does is that it gives you, a legal identity, formal identity, and it allows you to be sued or to sue in the name of the business. For instance, I'm a content creator, so I got a content creation gig with a law firm, a big law firm, in 2020, and they wanted to sign an NDA with me. And they asked me for my business name. At the time, I had a business name. I've had it for so long, but I did not register it. So they wanted to know, I gave them the business name, my business name, and they wanted to know if, it was registered, if they could sue me, if I could sue and be sued by that name. They were trying to protect their interests on all fronts. And then because most of the gigs that I've worked on up till that point, we just exchange emails, even outside the country. Someone just mails me and says, oh, I got your contact from so and so, or I found you here, I'd like us to work on this. And then we exchange emails and that, and then we conclude, I deliver the job, I get paid. No hassles whatsoever. But for the first time, these people wanted to sign an NDA and they wanted to execute the contract in my business name. So I had to go register. That's prompted my registration. That's one of the things it does for you. Apart from the fact that you can sue and be sued in that name, it gives you some sort of credibility before your clients. So register your business name. Then make sure that your object of trade is a lawful object. So we all know the objects that are not lawful, so it's important. And apart from being lawful, you have to understand the contextual legality of what you're trading in. For instance, if you want to trade in cryptocurrency now, you know that there are some lawful proscriptions against it. So it does not mean that cryptocurrency is illegal, but it means that there are some legal barriers that you have to consider if you were to start a cryptocurrency trading business in Nigeria. So you have to consider all those things as well. And then registering also helps with your tax returns. It helps you file your tax returns if it's applicable to you, and then you could have like a financial statement and all of that if you wanted to apply for grants and subventions and all of that. It's easier for you to generate these financial statements and tax documents so that you can apply. I know that I worked with a business as well in 2020. I was there for them for like a year, and we wanted to apply for that Facebook grant at the time during the lockdown. And then we had issues with our financial statements and tax returns that Facebook was asking for, because the business had not, prior to my working with them, they had not been properly documented. Proper documentation was not part of the plan, so to speak. So those are some of the lawful considerations you should look at when you're establishing a business. So if you're a creator, for instance, and you're starting out, you have this big idea that you want to execute or you want to scale, or you need someone to sponsor or fund, I would advise you to be very careful who you share your idea with. I talked about NDA earlier, but in the space of innovation and creativity, NDAs are not so protective. They are not so protective because, especially in a climate like Nigeria, where people do not really respect the rule of law, you'd understand that even if you were to sign an NDA with a party, they might not necessarily follow through with the constraints of the NDA. So be very careful and be very wary of what you share with who and what types of competitions you enter. Some of them are just avenues to crowdfund for ideas that they would go and implement behind you, and then they leave you hanging, probably not even get back to you. So you need to look at that. And then if your idea is patentable, go ahead and patent it immediately. If you are creating a trademark, make sure you start the registration process immediately. The registration takes a long time, but if you started it, then you can have that certificate showing that you've already submitted an application and it's in process. And so that if there's an infringement, you can be able to file for trademark infringement in court. Also, if you're an artist or a creator in the entertainment industry or any other industry, you know, that warrants signing contracts with some producers, you know, managers and whatever, make sure that you have a lawyer read the contracts. Make sure that you have a lawyer read the contracts that you're signing, so that you don't sign away your future. It's very important. Let a lawyer read your documents, your agreements with you, for you. Let a lawyer read your agreements and contracts for you before you sign or execute those contracts. Even if you're entering into a sponsorship agreement, or, you know, a collaboration partnership agreement, let a lawyer interpret it for you. They agree, especially, you know, the clauses like termination clause, remuneration clause, you know, all those very important clauses, so that you're not shortchanged at the end of the day. Very important. Another thing I want to talk about is employment. So since we're all young people, we're all moving from one job to the other. Be very careful what types of employment contracts that you enter into. Make sure that you have a lawyer interpret it for you, and make sure that you read it clearly. Sometimes the language is even plain enough for a layman to understand, but we don't pay attention to these things until there's trouble. So make sure that you read your employment contracts very well. Do not be desperate, because I personally believe that any young person that has gone to school, gone to college, has a degree, and has one skill or the other is never out of job. You're just looking or waiting for the next opportunity. So do not ever get desperate such that you don't read your contracts, you don't know what you're getting into fully. Very important. So these are legal considerations. You should read your employment contracts very well. Make sure you get an employment contract to start with, because if you do not get an employment contract, you don't have any basis, you know, under the law. And when I say under the law, it doesn't just mean that suing or going to court. Sometimes these contracts, these documents give you a leverage over, you know, the other party, because, you know, they will always remember each time they want to shortchange you. They always remember that, oh, we signed something. Oh, what if this guy activates this clause in the contract? What if this guy activates that clause in the contract? So it's very important for you to ensure that you have proper documentation for whatever you're entering into, and ensure that the contracts, the letters of the agreement are favorable to you before you sign off, you know, your rights. And your last social media activity would see that Nigeria has a Cyber Crimes Act. Whether we like the content or not, it's actionable. So it's very important for us as young people to be careful what we share and what our activities are on social media. I have a mantra, and it's I say facts only. Facts only, very important. Verify your facts before you share them, before you proliferate them. Make sure that you're sharing facts and figures and truths. Make sure you're sharing facts and figures and truths. Okay, don't just pass on a message because someone has said send this to 20 people and then you'll be blessed and what have you. Now you see that there are so many cases in court of slander, libel, and what have you. We might say that Nigerians don't go to court, or some of these things nobody would activate their power in court and what have you, and we might be unpleasantly surprised and shocked. So it's important. I know two key figures in the society who have slander libel judgments against them at the moment. The thing is that these judgments are going to be enforced whether you like it or not, and even if not, you can begin to imagine your credibility that's at stake, you know, maybe the credibility of your business that's at stake. So it's very important for you to be careful what you share online. Have a regard for other people's decency and rights. Okay, so you should always understand that your right to communicate, to express yourself, stops where the other person's own starts. So it's important for you not to infringe on another person's rights and freedom as you conduct yourself online and even offline. Do not pass on information that's not verified. Okay, do not fall into plagiarism, copyright infringement by, appropriating other people's creative work. If you do not know the author of someone or the source, and you feel compelled to share it, the best you could do is, let people know that this is not from you originally, so that you don't fall into legal trouble. Very important. And do not try to steal content that does not belong to you, because I know a lot of us are content creators as well. So make sure that your content are as original as possible. Avoid plagiarism, avoid copyright infringement, avoid fake news, avoid cyberbullying, and all those things. Some of them are well codified in the law, and these are reasons why people are getting arrested. I know that the media sensationalizes a lot of things. So when they say this person was arrested for insulting OBJ and stuff, you take it on the face of it that, oh, he's gone to jail because he insulted so. But when they get to court, the police or the public prosecutions department might have framed a charge that is sustainable and has legal basis. So at that point, people that are cheering for you on social media will not come to court with you, and the aftermath, how your life, your business, and all will suffer. And another consideration is you don't know how lawful the person you are crossing might want to be or not be. So what if they're not exploring the law and they're using intimidation, bullying, and illegality, to combat illegality? It's very dangerous for human life. Before you say jack, before you know what's happening, a life might have passed, and things might have been destroyed. So very important. Those are some considerations that I think that we should pay attention to as young people. I hope that we are having a great time hanging out today. Go Toosderians.